Coming up on First at 4, after several failed attempts to delay and derail the criminal process, former President Donald Trump is in a courtroom today as his hush money trial begins. Plus, the White House says the U.S. will not help Israel in a retaliatory strike against Iran. President Biden's message to Israeli leaders weighing a response.
Plus, this summer preview will continue for much of the week. Your forecast on the way as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, the last day of the legislative session featured two events for and against a controversial crime bill that became law. Supporters of House Bill 5 gathered on the steps leading to the Kentucky House as it was signed by the Secretary of State. The bill became law after both the House and Senate overrode Governor Beshear's vetoes. The bill is designed to toughen penalties for violent crimes, and supporters say it will improve the quality of life and the state's economy. Opponents also gathered at the state capitol to share their concerns about the bill.
Because crime in our state, that again is at record levels, has a very negative impact on all those things. As we see businesses leave and prices go up as a result, quality of life go down.
It's well intended. I don't question the intent or the spirit behind the bill or the sponsors of the bill. But it casts a net that's this wide instead of this wide, when something much more narrow, much more carefully crafted would have done the job that they wanted to get done.
Opponents also say it will treat homelessness as a crime, but the bill sponsor says it nudges the homeless toward treatment to remove them from dangerous and unhealthy situations. Former University of Kentucky President David Rozelle has died. Rozelle was the university's 9th president and led the university from 1987 to 1990. He was 84 years old. In a statement, UK President Eli Capilouto said he was, quote, an outstanding leader in higher education for several decades and had a profoundly important and positive impact on the University of Kentucky, end quote. Funeral arrangements have not yet been announced.
We are tracking some warm weather to kick off this week. Most of us right now are sunny, also mild, but we could see possibly a few showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we go into this evening. A live look from Perry County from Buffalo Mountain, and check out that temperature on this April afternoon, sitting at 81 degrees over at Buffalo Mountain, and most of us in the middle to lower 80s, up to 84 in Somerset, also in Prestonsburg, 83 for London, also Manchester, and 82 over in Breathitt County for Jackson at this hour. So we are well above average. We should be in the upper 60s for this time of year. Up on first alert pinpoint Doppler, most of us are dry under some sunshine, but notice we are tracking this boundary close to the Ohio River. Also notice a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of West Virginia, also Virginia. Now we could see possibly a stray shower or thunderstorm as we go into this evening, and we do have a level 2 slight risk of severe weather in place for most of us. The main threats would be heavy rainfall, strong straight line winds, possibly some small hail. Not everyone will see severe weather. Not everyone will see rain this evening, but a few showers and storms are going to be possible. Higher rain chances also on the way by Wednesday, and possibly another strong storm threat by Wednesday. More details on that forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Appalachian Regional Healthcare and Morehead State University signed a partnership deal this morning. The hope is this partnership will lead to an increase in the number of nurses in the state, as well as Hazard itself.
Really, this partnership sets forth a cooperative agreement between ARH as a provider and Morehead State University as an educational provider to provide RN to BSN coursework online, so an individual either right here in Hazard or another ARH location can complete that degree, remain employed with ARH, and then continue their career with ARH.
Tonight at 6, we'll have more about how this new partnership could impact our local healthcare system. History is being made today in Manhattan as Donald Trump becomes the first former U.S. president to face trial on felony charges. Trump is facing 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. He's accused of scheming to funnel payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels to cover up an alleged affair when he was running for president in 2016. Trump called the trial a persecution, claiming the entire proceeding is politically motivated.
And it's a country that's failing. It's a country that's run by an incompetent man who's very much involved in this case. This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is.
Trump is required to be present for the entire trial, which could go as long as 8 weeks. He's pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. We'll have more on today's court proceedings ahead at 5:30. Israel says it will respond to this weekend's drone and missile attack from Iran, but the Biden administration is pushing Israel to make it a diplomatic response and not a military one. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
President Biden praised the U.S. military's role in thwarting an Iranian attack on Israel over the weekend.
We mounted an unprecedented military effort to defend Israel. Together with our partners, we defeated that attack.
Israel's war cabinet met again Monday as they weighed their response to Iran. The Biden administration is saying it's up to the Israelis while calling for restraint.
In the 36 hours since, we have been coordinating a diplomatic response to seek to prevent escalation.
President Biden says the U.S. will continue to provide defensive support to Israel, but he raised concerns about escalating tension in the Middle East. It's already high because of the Israel-Hamas war.
We're committed to a ceasefire that will bring the hostages home and preventing conflict from spreading beyond what it already has.
Israel continues to launch airstrikes on the southern Gaza city of Rafah ahead of what is expected to be a ground invasion. The U.S. has objected to an invasion of Rafah because more than 1 million Palestinian refugees are currently sheltering in the city. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Biden administration also called on the U.S. House to pass the emergency supplemental that has already passed the U.S. Senate. The bill would help replenish Israel's air defenses as well as provide military support for Ukraine. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators blocked traffic in several major cities today. In Chicago, they blocked a freeway leading to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. In San Francisco, demonstrators shut down both directions of the Golden Gate Bridge for hours. They also stalled a 17-mile stretch of Interstate 880 in Oakland. There's also been protests in Manhattan and on the Brooklyn Bridge. The anti-war protesters are calling for an immediate ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. The FBI and U.S. Coast Guard are leading a criminal investigation into the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore. The agencies are looking into whether the crew of the ship failed to report an earlier issue that delayed its departure. The massive cargo ship lost power on March 26th, striking the bridge and causing the collapse. 6 people working on the bridge fell into the water and died. The NTSB is investigating why the ship lost power. Right now, that investigation is centered on engine room equipment. Coming up on First at 4, Ukrainian soldiers are trading the battlefield for the classroom. How art therapy is helping them cope with the trauma of war.
Plus, we could see some showers and possibly a thunderstorm by this evening. Your forecast coming up.